Hey everyone, Susie here with Where Soul Meets Body. I just wanted to pop on and do a quick video regarding trauma touch therapy. I know that I have mentioned in the weeks and months past that I would be diving more into this modality. So I will be doing some social media friendly type videos. But I also wanted to make sure that I did a little bit of a longer one that goes into further detail about what the therapy is, who it might be good for, my background with it, and just all those types of things. So, just a really quick background. Trauma Touch was developed by the wonderful Chris Smith out at the Colorado School of Healing Arts. She was a massage therapist and then became a teacher. And when she became a teacher, she realized that there were a lot of massage therapists who were coming to school that had a deep passion to help people, but who may have also been through some traumatic experiences themselves and were more or less trying to find something to, for lack of better words, fill that void or, just kind of take their life to the next level. So through a lot of trial and error and, a lot of development throughout the years, she made the trauma touch therapy one of her specialties, and it is only taught twice a year in Colorado. So I was lucky enough while living out there to be able to take this class, and I believe I took the class in 2011, and then I went on to get my certification so that I could actually be and practice trauma touch therapy and call myself a trauma touch therapist, which took a year-long externship and, doing the process with 3 different clients. And I have to check exactly, but I believe I either got that in 2012 or the beginning of 2013. So anyway, my background with it, unfortunately, I haven't done a whole lot of practice with it because as a massage therapist, it's quite different than your typical massage. However, I have a deep passion for this type of therapy. Without getting into too much detail, in high school, I was in an abusive relationship, and it took a lot from me and a lot out of me. And, some days I still struggle with certain things. However, when I got into massage therapy school in the beginning of 2007, I realized that massage itself was starting my healing process. So I kind of knew from the very beginning of getting into massage school that I wanted to somehow incorporate psychology and massage together in some sort of fashion. And wanted to work with the psychological aspect, since massage therapy is healing for mind, body, and soul. It is part of the reason why I chose my business name as Where Soul Meets Body. And, after getting into massage therapy school and then going out to Colorado and having more of a school that had more modalities than just your basic Swedish or deep tissue, I got a little introduction to some of these energetic type of modalities, which I didn't really take too much of a liking to at first. It wasn't exactly the same thing that I was looking for as far as that psychology goes. I feel a little bit differently about certain modalities now, such as like cranial sacral and things like that. But anyway, so after working in a spa for a few years, I was still continuing to look for this specific type of therapy, and luckily, after a Google search, I did find trauma touch therapy, and just so happens it was in Colorado. So in a sense, I feel like it was fate for me to fall upon this class. It was a 5-day intensive of 12 hours per day, and it really changed my perspective about a lot of things. I was lucky enough to also go through the 10, it's usually done in 10 sessions, so the 10 session series with another classmate of mine who was also working for her externship. So I have experienced the full aspect of the therapy myself. And it is it's an amazing modality. The best way that I can describe it to get more into the nitty gritty of it all. So your body and your muscles hold memory. People who have been through traumatic experiences tend to hold on to these emotions and traumas in their body, and sometimes they don't even realize it. Now, trauma can range in all levels. I mean, this pandemic itself has been very traumatic for a lot of people, financially, mentally, physically, emotionally. We've gone through so much just in this last year. Stress of any level can be traumatic. Our body, everybody processes trauma differently. So again, you can, it can be as little as, experiencing like just chronic stress or a chronic pain from an injury and your body's still holding on to it, from all degrees of abuse, whether it's physical, emotional, sexual, growing up in an abusive household, being involved in an abusive relationship, being exposed to people like narcissists or sociopathics, or anything of that nature that have kind of made your mind go into a tailspin. It can be something like witnessing a crime. It can be anything. It can be nutritional trauma. Sometimes your body handles food differently. Financial trauma, all sorts of things. Actually, also, if you have experienced any sort of addiction issues, veterans, there's so many degrees of trauma that this therapy can help. So basically, as I said, your body holds on to these memories and these traumas. And sometimes what we end up doing is dissociating or numbing ourselves, especially if they are deep-seated traumas from childhood, or have just impacted us so badly that we kind of, in a sense, cut off our mind from our body and then just live in our heads. How many people out there have just said, I don't know how to turn my head off. I don't know how to turn my thoughts off. All that anxiety, not always, but most likely comes from some sort of trauma. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be coming from an abusive household, but just simply not feeling like you're heard. Having parents that had to work super hard, so you had to grow up super fast. So things like that tend to translate and as life goes on. And sometimes you'll find yourself going through life saying, I have a good life, but something's missing. Or why am I continuing to make these same mistakes or make these same patterns that I can't seem to break free of, no matter how much I try to tell myself, I need to do something different, or I need to get myself out of these certain circumstances. It can be, you can be stuck in what's known as the trauma vortex. And it's just this never ending cycle of repeating the same mistakes, not necessarily mistakes, but decisions, or, just not getting a break. So through the trauma touch therapy, what we try to work together to do is to break yourself out of that and to create different pathways for your neurotransmitters to create different thought processes, and then you're essentially getting your control over your life again. So what a typical session, now I say typical, but honestly there is such a wide variety, because the main difference between this and a typical massage appointment, where you come in and you tell me what's bothering you and then I just massage it and feel what's going on, you as the client, now of course in regular massage you are in charge of your session as well, but this is to a different degree. You are completely in control of what happens during the massage, because this is ultimately for you to get your power back, for you to be in charge of your life, to be in charge of your decisions, to create a future you that you can be happy about, that you're not held back by your traumas, and just liberated. That's the best way to put it. You're just liberated. So the first session is usually all intake. This is so that I can get a good idea of whether or not Trauma Touch is a good fit for you, because unfortunately for some people it may not be at that time. This is such a different type of therapy that you have to be 100% open to the process. And if you're not necessarily willing to dive into some things that can come up, though the last thing we want to do is re-traumatize you, or if you don't have a good support system to help process through these sessions, especially because I am not a psychotherapist. So while there could be some discussion, I really can't go over my scope of practice. So a good support system or a good therapist that you have can be perfect, to just help to process through what may come up. So again, the first session would be all intake. And then from there, if you decide that you want to continue, we would go on into the next sessions. Now, again, everybody processes trauma differently. Everybody heals differently. Some people heal quicker than others. So while it is typically done in 10 sessions, it may not always go that way. That all depends on you as the client. So I'm just going to kind of explain some of the things that could happen during a session. If you are comfortable with touch, we can do some light touch. It's basically just holding space. That's all it is. It's no pressure, the type of pressure that you feel in massage. It is literally just holding space. What you want to do is get present in your body, and that can be very hard for somebody who's lived in their minds for so long. You don't know exactly what's going on in your body, or you might feel some aches or pains, but you're not really listening. I can kind of describe it sort of like a meditation or a guided meditation, where you just kind of sit and get present and think about the sensations that you're feeling within yourself. We can do things like breath work, body scans, like I said, doing some light touch if you're comfortable with touch. For people who have been abused in some sort of physical aspect, you may not want to have that touch, and that's okay. So we can just sit there for an hour to 90 minutes and just figure out, what you're comfortable with. It all goes at your pace. The main goal is to get through a few sessions to where you may not necessarily remember your traumas, although of course some of that will come up, but we are going to focus more on sensations. So you are separating the two. From there, each session will begin with a check-in and end with a check-in, especially if there has been some of that light touch that has happened. You're completely in charge of the session. So, if we stay in one place for the entire 90 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever it may be, then so be it. At the end of the session, like I said, we'll go over some, we'll check in. I'll leave some time for you to kind of do some integration with that. Again, sensations are huge with this, so you might want to pay attention to your sight, your smell, your hearing. Sometimes things can seem brighter, sounds can be more pronounced, and then of course I encourage everybody, depending on an individual basis, some things that they can do to help to change up those neurotransmitters throughout the process. Things such as taking a different route home, if that's applicable. I know not always from my office that's possible, or if this is a virtual session, you may already be at home, but listening to different radio stations, journaling, just changing things up from your normal habits and your normal patterns, which will help your neurotransmitters to create different pathways. And then through the process, you'll see that, hopefully you will see that, things become a little bit easier. You might notice subtle changes at first, but just becoming more in control of your life. That is the ultimate goal, so that you can be happy and then joyful, which is the next piece to this trauma touch. So the last few sessions, again, depending on where you are in your process, how your process goes, we will focus more on bringing joy into your life. So this means bringing out your inner child, for lack of better words. We can do things like art therapy. We can go for a walk. Really the options are endless, depending on who you are, what your traumas are, what you enjoy to do. You want to do a little dance party, we can have a little dance party. You want to jump around like monkeys, we can jump around like monkeys. I will be doing everything with you. If you are somebody who hasn't been comfortable with touch and you know, you want to try a little bit of massage, we can do that. Again, the options are endless. And, you know, while virtual may be a little bit different because, you know, we can't necessarily go for a walk or, I mean, we could jump around like monkeys over the screen, you know, to each their own, and we will figure it out together through the process. So that's basically, you know, the best understanding that I can give. Most people who have been trained in trauma touch therapy say that it is the most difficult modality to explain because of the fact that there are so many possibilities. I can tell you, although it is still a process for me from time to time, going through this therapy has really made a difference in my life. And sometimes you're going to go back to your toolbox, but that's the whole thing. We are doing this type of therapy together so that you can leave and say, I'm having a bad day, but you know what? I can journal, or I can take some deep breaths. I can recenter myself. I can look within myself and say, okay, this feels heavy in my chest. Why does it feel heavy in my chest? Sit with it for a minute and then kind of liberate yourself from getting sucked into a trauma vortex or sucked into anxiety or, you know, just all kinds of things. And, you know, it's not going to work every single day. Again, this life in general, there are so many triggering things out there. So, you know, it's just a really great way to help yourself. I mean, I keep saying it, get back in control of your life. And it's just a really great tool to add on to your therapy. If you're doing traditional therapy, or if you're in addiction counseling, or you see a social worker, or, you know, any sort of therapy or ailment that, or just, you know, living a life of chronic stress. I am here to help you as somebody who has been through traumatic experiences and can deeply empathize with you no matter what the situation may be. I promise you that you will be here in a safe place with a safe therapist. Nothing will ever leave this room or the computer. And, you know, I will work with you every step of the way to help you become comfortable with who you are and, you know, just live a long, fulfilling life. If you're interested in trauma touch therapy or would like to learn more, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You may call me at 609-857-1554. Email me at susie@soulmeetsbodymassage.com or visit online at soulmeetsbodymassage.com. I have a full link on trauma touch therapy on my website, and I would be happy to discuss further, you know, so that you might be able to find a different option. It's time for us to stop living in our traumas and to just go on to live the best life that we can. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to hear from some of you soon.